The way somebody else described it, where time stands still for you, but everybody else moves on, is pretty accurate.
2 years ago, a car ran off a road in Eagle Mountain, hitting and killing two 3-year-old little boys who were playing together that day. The sad 2-year anniversary is our top story tonight on 2 News at 6 o'clock.
On the second anniversary of their deaths, Hunter's mom agreed to sit down with Chief Investigative Reporter Wendy Halloran to talk about a mix-up in this case that made the boy's death even worse. Wendy.
Well, Heidi and Mark, it has been a very hard case for Brooke and Jeremy Jackson and Teresa and Bobby Ratliff. I sat down with Brooke, and as you're about to see, it was made harder as nothing else happened on her terms, especially right after the tragedy. What do you remember the most about your beautiful son?
His smiles, his dimples, and that he wanted to make sure everybody was happy, so he would give you a hug whether he knew you or not.
And he also loved to ride horses, too.
Just one.
Just one. Just one in particular.
Yep, Shawnee. He's part of Angel's Landing, but he's a retired horse that just hangs out. Hunter claimed that as his horse.
And he was there as Hunter was laid to rest. You have faced unspeakable tragedy, and in the face of this, you appear to be holding yourself together on the surface. But is that how you feel inside?
No. There's lots of emotional breakdowns.
Of the many things that you miss, what do you miss the most of being able to do?
The Hunter would come up just because he wanted to, and he'd have his blanket. Say, Mom, I need to cuddle you. He's not here to do that. We take it one day at a time. We talk with Odin's family often, so we're not exactly alone in it.
Odin's parents, Teresa and Bobby, had decided they wanted his organs donated and wished to have his body cremated. Brooke and Jeremy had not considered such a gift and were not asked about donating his organs. Brooke says the plan was for Hunter to be embalmed and buried in the cemetery's Angel Garden. A mistake was made, correct?
Yeah. So while the preparations for that happened, because they were already misidentified, it kept being misidentified, and then it turns out that Hunter's body was the one that became the organ donor.
We are not identifying the hospital where this happened.
They had already taken out his heart valves, and they wanted to know if we wanted to continue with the donation or if we wanted them to put them back in.
But that's not what you had intended for your son.
No, because we were never asked.
Odin's dad, Bobby, already grief-stricken over losing his only child, was inconsolable.
One of the hardest parts was getting Odin's dad to realize that it was not his fault it happened, because he was the one who said yes to Odin. And so he feels extremely guilty that he thinks he said yes to Hunter, and that's not what happened.
Brooke says she got one call from the hospital.
They gave an apology over the phone, and we were allowed to ask any questions we wanted. That's all we got. And then here's the phone number if you want to call back again, because you'll probably have more questions.
And that was that?
Mm-hmm.
Were they negligent?
To some degree.
I asked her if she finds some measure of comfort knowing through this mistake her son has helped others.
Sometimes it does, but after waiting 2 years and not getting one thank you card, you wonder if it was really the right choice. There were 4 heart valves and 2 corneas. 6 people received life-saving things because of Hunter and Odin. Not one thank you card.
The donor company we are also not naming is contracted with the hospital.
They like to do the blame game. Well, we're just a third party, and it's not our responsibility to make sure they send a thank you card.
Is that a slap in the face to you?
Yeah.
Now, the Jackson family posted a statement on the second anniversary of their deaths that they call an Angelversary, titling it Best Friends to Infinity and Beyond. The end of their statement says Hunter became a donor in memory of his best friend Odin. Together, they both became heroes, forever best friends. And looking ahead to the weekend, the first ever Odin and Hunter Memorial Ride will kick off in Eagle Mountain on Sunday at 11. Cars are asked to line up at the Corey B. Ride Memorial Park. Mark and Heidi.
Thank you. The family of one of the boys killed in that Eagle Mountain crash now suing the state of Utah.
It is a lawsuit from Teresa and Bobby Ratliff, parents of Odin Ratliff. Also named in the suit are the Department of Corrections, Adult Probation and Parole, and also Wasatch Behavioral Health. That lawsuit alleges the state and Wasatch Behavioral Health knew that Kent Cody Barlow was in violation of his parole before the deadly crash and then concealed it. In February of 2023, 2 News investigates and covered the fact that Barlow tested positive for drugs 3 weeks before the crash and then stopped going to drug treatment entirely. Wasatch Behavioral Health was not required to report it to AP&P. AP&P never asked and then claimed it had no clue that he wasn't showing up for his treatment.
And a quick look back at the past 2 years and some key dates for you. The children were killed in that crash on May 2nd, 2022, while playing in a horse corral. Barlow made his first court appearance 2 weeks after the crash on May 19th. Barlow was initially charged with manslaughter, but that was later changed to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Those changes started the court process over, and a new preliminary hearing began in February of this year. After multiple delays, the judge has yet to decide if Barlow will stand trial for first-degree murder charges.